fuck do you think you are? You little whore? Dare threaten me or fuck things up in my life? Don't you ever talk about my wife. Don't you ever say her name. Whoa. Take it easy. Take it easy. Take.
The film opens with a wide shot of a desert landscape surrounded by rocky mountains, ideal terrain for hunting. A helicopter lands carrying Richard and his girlfriend Jennifer. They arrive at Richard's secluded desert home to spend time together before his annual hunting trip with friends. Before leaving, the pilot gives Richard a dose of peyote as a parting gift. Inside the house, Richard and Jennifer are intimate. Later, Richard receives a call from his wife, revealing he has a family. The conversation is smooth as she believes he's on a regular hunting trip. The next morning, Jennifer, dressed in her underwear, goes to the kitchen. She's startled when Richard's friends arrive unexpectedly, a day earlier than planned. Richard is frustrated by their early appearance, as he intended to keep Jennifer a secret. With no other option, Richard allows the two men, Stan and Dimitri, to stay. During introductions, Stan appears especially interested in Jennifer. That evening, they relax by the pool, taking in the desert view. Dimitri uses binoculars and becomes curious about the peyote the pilot gave Richard. Richard explains that it's a powerful hallucinogen, strong enough to make someone feel no pain. He recalls a story where a man amputated his own leg under its influence. Richard warns them about its potency and tells Jennifer to store it safely. However, Jennifer becomes intrigued and hides the drug inside her necklace instead. She then steps outside and performs a provocative dance to entertain the group. The next morning, Jennifer, now fully the center of attention, continues to draw the interest of the group, especially Stan, who becomes increasingly obsessed with her. When she wakes up, Stan invites her to breakfast while Richard is away. He uses the opportunity to make advances, but Jennifer brushes him off and returns to her room. Stan follows her, confused by the rejection. He reminds her of her flirtatious behavior the night before, but Jennifer makes it clear she's not interested in him. Stan becomes offended and angry. Despite her refusal, he forces himself on her. Jennifer resists but is overpowered. Dimitri enters during the assault but does nothing to stop it. Instead, he quietly leaves the room and turns up the television to drown out the noise. Later, Richard returns home and notices the unusually quiet atmosphere. Stan vaguely tells him there was a problem with Jennifer, but avoids specifics. Richard checks on Jennifer and finds her visibly shaken. She demands to leave immediately and asks him to call the helicopter. Realizing something serious happened, Richard confronts his friends and scolds them, but takes no further action. When Jennifer wakes again, she repeats her demand to leave. Richard offers money and says his friends will apologize, but refuses to arrange her departure. Jennifer threatens to expose their affair to his wife if he doesn't send her home. Richard becomes aggressive, scaring Jennifer into fleeing the house. Stan and Dimitri join him in chasing her. Jennifer runs until she reaches the edge of a cliff, with nowhere left to go. Richard and the others catch up, cornering her near the drop. Richard pretends to apologize and calls the pilot, assuring Jennifer she can leave. As she relaxes, Richard suddenly pushes her off the cliff. She falls and is impaled on a tree branch. Stan and Dimitri are shocked. Richard explains that letting her go would expose their assault and his affair, risking prison time. He insists killing her was necessary to protect themselves. They return to the house to gather hunting gear and plan to come back later to dispose of the body and erase evidence. Back at the base of the cliff, Jennifer is revealed to still be alive. The branch impaled her body but missed vital organs. Swarmed by ants and immobilized, she spots her lighter nearby. After some effort, she grabs it and sets the shrub alight, weakening the branch enough to escape, though it remains lodged in her body. As Richard and his friends drive back to the site, Jennifer hears their vehicle and crawls away to hide despite her injuries. When the men arrive and find the spot empty, they're confused. They speculate she was rescued or fled. They begin climbing down the cliff to search further. Once Jennifer hears them moving away, she seizes the opportunity to get as far as she can from the area. By nightfall, the men reach the bottom of the cliff but are puzzled by her disappearance. Eventually, they discover a trail of blood and follow it. The trail leads them to a lake where it abruptly ends. The three men agree to split up to search for Jennifer. Stan, clearly afraid, chooses to wait in the car in case she returns. Despite her injuries, Jennifer keeps moving. She hears a vehicle approaching and hides underwater as Dimitri rides past on a quad bike. Once the area is clear, she emerges and notices Dimitri nearby with his rifle placed beside his vehicle. Seeing an opportunity, she approaches.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Take it easy, take it easy, take it.
But the rifle is unloaded. Left intentionally as bait.
Did you really think I was that fucking stupid?
Dimitri tries to capture her and contacts the others, planning to torture her first. During the struggle, Jennifer manages to grab a knife from his pocket and fatally stabs him, leaving his body in the lake. She takes his gear and rides off on his quad bike. Her escape is cut short when the vehicle runs out of fuel. Still impaled by the branch, she continues on foot and finds a cave to rest. In pain and with limited medical options, she remembers the hallucinogenic drug hidden in her necklace. She ingests it, seeking relief. The drug quickly takes effect, causing hallucinations and dulling her pain. In this state, she self-operates, cutting into her abdomen to remove the branch. She then heats a tin from a drink and cauterizes the wound to stop the bleeding. The next day, Stan is seen sleeping in the Jeep. Richard returns after failing to find Jennifer, bringing back a dead animal. Neither of them knows Dimitri is dead. Later, Stan discovers Dimitri's body in a lake. While Richard reacts with anger, Stan stays silent but blames Jennifer for the death. They dispose of the body and argue, with Richard blaming Stan for not backing up Dimitri. They leave the scene, now focused on how to track Jennifer down. Meanwhile, Jennifer, having recovered, notices a bird logo imprinted on her skin from the tin used in her treatment. She takes her rifle and exits the cave, ready to act.
Hey, beautiful.
Jen wakes up and realizes it was a drug-induced nightmare. Regaining consciousness, she decides to stop running and instead hunt down the men who attacked her. Now armed with a shotgun, she begins tracking Richard and Stan through the desert. Elsewhere, Richard and Stan discover that Jen took one of their quad bikes. They decide to split up to search the area. Richard rides off, leaving Stan behind. Stan, still dealing with a nose injury, uses a mirror to check the damage. Unknowingly, the reflection alerts Jen to his location. Jen follows him, barefoot and wounded but determined. Stan rides through the desert until his vehicle runs low on fuel. Jen sets up her position and uses a scope to aim at him. She fires, hitting his shoulder. Stan screams in pain and disappears before Jen can reach him. She follows the trail of his blood, but loses it when all she finds is his shoe. Stan hides and loads his gun, preparing to shoot Jen from behind. Because of his shoulder injury, his aim is off. He fires and only grazes her ear. Jen runs for cover as Stan keeps shooting. She picks up shards from a flashlight and uses them as a weapon. The glass injures Stan's feet, slowing him down as he tries to pull the shards out. Stan removes the glass shard from his leg and, unable to run, returns to his car to chase Jennifer. Despite the severe wound, he forces himself to drive. Jen manages to kill him during the confrontation. Afterward, Jen hears Richard's voice over Stan's walkie-talkie, which fuels her anger. Richard, unaware of what happened to Stan, tries to reach him by radio but gets no response. Frustrated and exhausted, he assumes Stan is dead and heads back to the house. At the house, Richard tries to clean up and prepare to leave by calling the helicopter pilot. While getting ready, he hears a noise and checks the area, assuming Jen might be nearby. He finds nothing but becomes alarmed when the TV turns on unexpectedly. Suddenly, Jen appears and shoots Richard in the stomach with a shotgun. He returns fire, and a brief shootout follows. Wounded, Richard retreats while Jen chases him through the house. He sets an ambush, but Jen spots his trail of blood and avoids the trap. Weak from blood loss, Richard tries to stop the bleeding with a food wrapper. Jen eventually finds him and they struggle again. She slips on his blood, giving him an opening to attack. Jen, already injured, fights back by targeting his wound. She grabs the rifle and fires the final shot. Killing Richard. With all three attackers dead, Jen's ordeal ends. Covered in blood, she steps outside. As she turns, she hears a helicopter approaching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned, because this movie train's not stopping anytime soon. Thanks for watching.